please welcome Sravan Bommana and Bidhin Desai.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I hope you all are having a great time at OCI, the CloudWorld, and at Vegas. So today, we wanted to share our experience with our migration to the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So I'm Sravan Bommana. I'm a senior manager at senior manager of IT for financial systems at Evraz, and I oversee all the Oracle rollout projects at Evraz. So over to you, Bidhin.
Yeah, thank you, Sravan. So my name is Bidhin Desai. Overall 25 years of industry experience in the Oracle technologies and responsible for leading Oracle Cloud infrastructure practice globally within WIPRO. So we'll be walking you through with the Evraz Cloud journey in the OCI, the challenges we have they had and how it is mitigated, and the solutions considerations which we have adopted to take care of Evraz's challenges. So with that, I would request Sravan to walk us through the Evraz, right? Over to you, Sravan.
Next slide. So, okay. No, I think this is yours.
Next. Yes.
Okay, so Evraz North America. So what do? We are a leading producer of steel in North America. We have presence in Canada and United States. We are a #1 supplier of the rail products across North America, and then we are a leading recycler of steel in North America, and then we also are a leading supplier of the heavy plate in the U.S. West Coast. We are a people of 4,000 people across our entities in Canada and U.S., and we have about we produce about 4.7 million tons of steel products, ranging from plate and coil, rail products, and tubular products. So we serve various industries, and we are an environment conscious company. So we are 75% lower on carbon emissions for producing the steel, and also we have metal recycling capacity of 2 million cars per year. And we are committed to reducing our carbon footprint by 2050. And we are the first steel mill to set up to run on a solar power energy.
Yeah.
And then.
With that, WIPRO, we are the leading IT service provider across the globe with 10.4 billion revenue, with the presence in APMEA, Europe, and Middle East, and having presence in the 66 countries, and with 135 nationalities working with WIPRO. With that, I would like to walk you through our OCI cloud practice, where we started our journey with the OCI when Oracle released the Jan 1 Cloud some 8 years back. And from there onwards, we have helped many of our customers to adopt the OCI to the cloud, the transformation to the OCI, the digital journey. And with this is possible only with having a strong competency, which we WIPRO have around 1,000 plus consultants into the OCI's place. And out of that, 600 of them are certified. So we take very seriously the certifications when we place our consultants into the OCI engagements, which are very critical to our customers like Evraz. We are managed service provider for Oracle and also the cloud service provider expertise. We hold that badge, which very few Oracle partners have that credentials within the OCI. And being a MSP partner, it comes with the credentials which we have to go through with the Oracle. So it's a very stringent requirement to be an MSP and a cloud service provider. Having said that, our OCI services, we help our customers to start with, helping them to create the business case for them, the TCO analysis, the cloud adoption roadmap, the discovery and assessment, and why OCI is the right choice for them, which we have real help. Evraz and I'll walk through them why the OCI is the right choice for them. Once the cloud is selected, the OCI is the right choice, and then we work with our customers to create build the migration plan, which is very crucial. And we have the tools and accelerators, which I will walk through which are very crucial for the critical migrations for whether it is Oracle or non-Oracle applications and other bespoke applications to the OCI. We do the implementation, the greenfield implementations into the OCI, and some of the customers where you can see we have implemented the very mission critical airline management systems in OCI. So that means that OCI can hold not only the Oracle as well as the non-Oracle applications to the OCI. Once the applications are migrated, it is live and running into the OCI. We ensure that the environments which are running, it is into the production. They follow the SLAs, the KPIs, the availability is being adhered. So we have a stringent managed services services there where we ensure that all the applications which are hosted are running perfectly without any performance issues, critical issues, and we provide end-to-end managed services into the OCI. So we WIPRO have developed the tools and accelerators to support our customers to adopt the OCI journey, where we have the cloud freedom migration, where we can help customers to create the digital journey, where the free cloud assessments we can do the discovery and assessments. Our Cloud Studio is an end-to-end framework where all the tools and accelerators are hosted to support the discovery, assessment, then migration, implementation, and then the services. So everything is covered into our Cloud Studio framework. The tools which we have developed for, as I mentioned previously, the tools we have developed to migrate into the OCI, the WIPRO in-house tools, which are the differentiator for us, it is completely automated it creates the cloud foundation, and then when cloud foundation is created, it migrate the databases and then the application. So all the three layers from the rack to stacks, the migration is completely automated. That our tool, one-touch migration, does. Also, the cloud cost control management tool, which once the environments, the workloads are migrated to OCI, it is very important that whatever spends we are it is incurring, it is leveraging the universal cloud credits are optimized as per the usage. So our C3MT tool does that, and it recognizes the workloads in OCI which are running and give us the recommendations that these are the workloads wherein you need to optimize to scale up, scale down. So that's another tool which helps in the OCI space. So there are other tools which we have developed in the OCI area, which helps our customers from the discovery and assessment to the migration. Of course, we have built a TCO analysis calculator which helps in creation of the business case, and specifically for OCI. And last but not the least, we have our WIPRO DR as a service IP, where it ensures that we implement the lean DR into the OCI with a minimal OpEx spend, and it ensures the RPO and RTO requirement with the automation we have built on top of our IP. So these are the tools and accelerators we have developed into the OCI, which helps our customers to adopt the OCI journey. Some of the customers where I have listed here, where we have helped them to migrate the Oracle and non-Oracle applications to OCI. With that, I would request Sravan to walk us through the landscape which they have and whatever the challenges which Sravan you can help us, let us know, and how it means. So just let us know about the challenges which Evraz used to have.
Yep. So just to give a quick background of our environment, we have. Okay. So at Evraz, we have decided that Oracle is going to be our ERP system. So we are heavily using Oracle for various functions at Evraz, like financial, supply chain, and the maintenance of our equipment. So Oracle is our global ERP, and with the growing footprint of Oracle at our organization, we wanted to make sure that we have a best infrastructure in place and a proper DR environment. So first, I would like to go through what our environment looks like, and then I will walk through the challenges that we had with our on-premise environment. So we are using Oracle EBS on-prem, and then we have Primavera to manage all our projects, like CapEx and OpEx projects, which we integrate into Oracle. And we are on a database version 12, and the Primavera was on our SQL Server. And we did not have a rack setup for our environment, and then we were a single node environment where all our storage was in one data center, as well as both the application servers were based out of one location. So which means that we did not have a distributed DR environment where we could fail over to a different locations. Let's say if one data center goes down, that's it. We are stuck, right? So those are some of the biggest challenges we had. So with the growing footprint of Oracle at Evraz, we wanted to make sure that we had the best infrastructure. So we had various projects that were going on at the same time, and we needed like multiple environments to be able to carry out our projects to expand our footprint. So one of the biggest challenges we had was the end-of-life architecture, right? So the infrastructure, which was not helping us with the scaling our environments. So added to that, we are also having issues with provisioning new environments, because as the projects kept growing, we had to provision more environments to the business to carry out their projects. So that was one of the other challenges. And then being a global system now, we wanted to make sure that we had the best DR environment to support our business, so that we could have a minimum downtime or non-interrupted environment where the business can continue their activity when our primary server went down, which was one of the things we wanted to make sure we had when we are in OCI, right? So as part of all these high operational costs and everything, we decided that with our investment into the cloud environments, we did some analysis with WIPRO, and then we started our journey of migrating our Oracle environments or all our Oracle products into the OCI. So that's where our journey started, and Bidhin will walk us through the solution considerations and the different challenges. Over to you, Bidhin.
Thank you, Sravan. So as you have understood the challenges which Sravan articulated, the end of the life infrastructure, the turnaround time to get the new environments to support their development, the in-flight projects, it's quite lengthy. So, and also the performance issues which Sravan mentioned. So how to mitigate those challenges? Considering those challenges, we have thought through lots of discussions we had with Evraz. And we thought that OCI is the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI is the right choice and the right platform, the right cloud provider to host their very critical Oracle Business Suite, Primavera, and other applications to OCI. Now, why OCI? Because the Oracle applications which Evraz hosts is completely 100% certified and supported in OCI. The migration approach which we understood, and it is a lift and shift, it is as-is migration. That means the risk to migrate is very minimal with compared to the other hyperscalers. So we can just lift and shift as is from the source to the target, on-premise to the OCI with a very minimal risk. The other benefit, which is the optimization which we get in the OCI when we port our on-premise environment to the OCI, your sizing drastically get reduced with the latest and the greatest of the hardware. So with that, another reason is OCI is the right choice. The another, and then they can bring their own licenses from the on-premise, port it to the OCI. So with all these the challenges which they have and the application landscape they have, we understood that and then came to the conclusion that the OCI is the right choice for Evraz. With that, the challenges which Sravan mentioned, though, so the solutions which we have designed for Evraz is the first thing which we understood from them is the biggest challenge is to have the availability of the environments as and when in need. So that's where we thought that the cloud scalability, the OCI which it provides, as well as the resources and the scalability, the dynamic resource availability which OCI provides as a feature, this is one of the greatest advantage wherein that challenge can be mitigated when we host the environment into the OCI. The multi-cloud region, wherein I will walk through in the architecture how we have designed the production can be hosted into the primary region, one primary region, and the DR can be hosted far into the far region in another region. So that way you can mitigate and and have a true DR situation with the DR strategy, with the far DR, which they didn't had with their environment into the on-premise. So they didn't have the true DR. So we need to ensure that when we design our solutions, Evraz has the true DR with the very minimal spend and the dedicated DR, of course. Then the RPO, RTO requirement which they have committed to their business is achieved with the DR solutions which we provide. So that's another requirement which Sravan mentioned. That's a challenge that they didn't enjoy during their environments which is hosted in on-premise. The another advantage which I mentioned during my why OCI, why OCI is the right choice, where the optimizations which enjoyed when we port all the workloads to the OCI. So the requirement in the OCI gets drastically reduced because of the hardware, the latest hardwares. That's where the performance, we felt that once we migrate to the OCI, and of course, Sravan will cover what are the benefits, Sravan, you got after you moved to the OCI, where the performance improvements, the challenges which they had in the performance, their SLAs and the KPIs which were sometimes were not getting met, how it is, if we can ensure that with our solution, such challenges related to the performance are being met. And well, the licenses are optimized in OCI. So they had Red Hat Linux licenses, which we suggested to Evraz that you can migrate from the Red Hat to the Oracle Enterprise Linux, where you can save on the licenses, because in the OCI, the licenses are free with the OCI, right? The last is very important, where the monitoring solutions, to adopt the monitoring solutions into the cloud. So we recommended Evraz to have the centralized monitoring framework, to have the Oracle Enterprise Manager 13C with the integration of the homegrown scripts which Evraz has, so that we have a very robust monitoring policy in place. So these are the solutions, considerations which we have designed and taking into account the challenges which Evraz had. And with that, I would like to walk us through the architecture where the Evraz from the Evraz network, the connectivity to the OCI is through the IPsec VPN. We have suggested to have the hub and spoke VPN architecture, where to means ensure that there is a network isolation happens. Also, the architecture is completely compartmentalized, and we have adopted the best practices of, as per the Oracle standards, the OCI reference architecture, and ensure that the native security controls which should be adopted are enforced at the architecture design level itself. That means the three compartments we created, one to host the network isolations, one other for the database, and the application tier. Also, as I mentioned into my previous slides, that the production and the DR will be hosted into the different regions, the far regions. So their production primary is hosted into the Ashburn, and the DR we have designed to host it into the Phoenix. So their production and DR are hosted into the far region so that they are able to achieve the far DR region requirement also. So this is the architecture which is for the Evraz, which is best practices which are implemented for the Evraz implementation in OCI. Now I will walk through the migration approach, wherein how we have migrated the Evraz critical application to the OCI, and also one of the very important factor we have considered here is that we got the requirement from the business about their expectation on the downtime management. So, and what is the solutions we have adopted, the innovative solutions we have adopted to ensure that we have a minimal downtime. So as you can see on the left side, the Evraz on-premise environment which is hosted, and on the right side we have the OCI. We have set up the standby environment and set up and then configured the standby environment to have the sync with their on-premise to the OCI. So once the standby environment is created, we have a plan to sync up and create the further non-production environment in OCI to do the testing and the validation and the multiple passes. So from the standby it is created, so it is always in sync with the source for the Evraz on-premise. So that way the spin-off of the environment, the time required to spin off the environment from the on-premise to OCI is also reduced. The typical migration approach when we consider the migration, now how the migration can happen, that was just what I explained is the high-level migration plan, that you can create a DR, standby environment from the source to the target, and then the non-production. So to double-click that, how we migrate and how we actually migrate the environments. So what we have done is that we have done we have used the RMAN backup from the source, from the standby environment, and then once the RMAN backup is done, we have to copy that RMAN to the target into the object storage. That takes 3 hours for the backup, and then another 3 hours from there to copy to the target, and then bring up the database, do the application post tasks, the cloning task, and then the complete migration. It used to take around 7 to 8 hours complete. So that is okay for the non-production environment. But then we got feedback and from the business that for the production they are not okay to have such a higher downtime, the extended downtime. So what we have gone to and did the whiteboarding, and then we came up with a innovative solution. Since Evraz is using to host the database on the IS and not leveraging the DBAs, we are able to use the block volume clone across the region. So what does this mean is that we take the RMAN backup, and then from the block storage, we just take the storage backup, and that clone, it is a technology which is an infrastructure technology in OCI, which helps you to take the block clone of that volume and then copy into the target. So then with leveraging this feature and approach, we were able to drastically reduce the downtime from bring up the database from 6 hours to less than 15 minutes. So this we tested in the downstream environments. We had 2 mock-ups. Of course, some of the best practices which we have adopted, I will be covering that, and including how the cutover time is reduced. But the most important part is the reduction of the downtime and to ensure that we adhere to the requirement of the business that as per the what they have given. So with the block volume clone usage across the DR in the production, the cross regions, we were able to reduce the downtime. So for the successful go live, as I mentioned, the approach which we took to reduce the downtime, the planning which we have ensured from the beginning of the project when we started, we ensured that we have a robust plan, the execution plan, and ensure that each and every phase gets the passes which we tell. Once you migrate the non-prod, we ensure that the thorough testing, validation is being performed, it is documented, and whatever the issues which we faced are addressed and also documented and ensure that it doesn't occur or reoccur into the subsequent passes and subsequent environments. So that is one of this has really helped us in ensuring that production doesn't have any new issues or new eventual issues when we really go to the production. The another very important area where we have it has helped us is to have the 2 mock runs, which we ensured that we do the actual production like migration into the mocks. We have performed the mock to ensure that whatever we do during the go live. So during the mock runs, we have executed as if we are performing the production live cutover. So with having the two mock runs planned into our migration plan, our program, this has really helped, and I really suggest for everyone, all of them, to ensure that you include the mocks into your migration plan. This will help, and also, if possible, please try to execute the mock into the production type of infrastructure environment, as is similar like the production. So this has helped in ensuring that the production cutover mock, whatever we have executed is exactly like the production. So with that, we have ensured that our go lives were successful, and whatever the requirements from the Evraz, considering their challenges, we have with our solution considerations, the design, the architecture which we have designed with ensuring the best practices, the security best practices. Of course, they also had a concern initially that if I move to the cloud, how is my environment secured? So that is, we have ensured that with the robust architecture, which I have showcased to you, to ensure that we stand by the Evraz's requirement. With that, I would like to hand it over to Sravan and walk us through the benefits and which Evraz has got with the solutions which we have implemented, and whether the challenges which you articulated, Sravan, you mentioned in the beginning of our presentations, whether those are achieved, and how migrating from the OCI it has helped Evraz. So, Sravan, please let us.
Thanks, Bidhin. So I will go over the benefits that we have gained by moving into OCI. So definitely we were very satisfied with our migration into OCI. We did run into some challenges. Like Bidhin mentioned, we worked on the downtime to make sure that we did not have downtime that would obstruct the business operations. So we ensured that. And then we did the meticulous planning and proper testing and addressed all the issues. So moving on to the benefits, one of the biggest benefits that we got was with the growing footprint of Oracle at Evraz, we needed environments that would support our projects and rollout of EBS, right? So with the scalable infrastructure that we got, we were able to build, provision the environments as needed and then decommission them, which helped us tremendously in controlling our costs for rolling out any new projects because of the number of projects that were happening. So that was definitely very cost effective for us, which was a fraction of what we would have happened, and the turnaround time that was there. It has tremendously helped us achieve and run through our projects. Because otherwise in the previous state, we were so rigid and we could not get, we had a high turnaround time because of the approvals that we had to go through and then building the environment from the scratch. So that was the biggest gain that we had. As soon as we released the environment to the users after go live, the first feedback was that they absolutely liked the performance of the application, Oracle EBS as well as Primavera. The biggest thing is we were heavy on some of the modules which had like HTML pages, like the OAF pages, which would consume a lot of Java resources. So with the kind of resources that we have allocated for this project on this, we got the best performance and users were really satisfied. And on top of it, we were also using the Oracle product, which is called Oracle Enterprise Command Center, which was also doing like data loads from our subledger modules to display dashboards, which were like really running constantly for us, like very frequently. So that has helped us with improving the dashboard performance, and users were really satisfied with that. On top of that, we also gained efficiency in our our backup process, and then also the performance of the application from another standpoint, like running reports, some of the critical reports that used to take a little longer than being on the on-premise. So we were able to gain some efficiency there as well. Like we were about like 40% efficiency that we gained there. So overall, the experience was great, and also with all the other integrations, like we have heavy integrations with all our legacy systems and MES systems. We were able to do a very successful migration over into OCI, meeting all our infrastructure standards and networking standards because of some of the security risks that we had to go through. We got a real benefit out of implementing or moving into OCI. So those are some of the main benefits, and then we are also exploring some additional features that Oracle OCI provides, which is going to help us with building or refreshing our environments on a faster basis. Unlike our traditional approach of refreshing the environments, there are certain products like Cloud Manager and all that, which we are working on getting them implemented. So we are on our journey to further enhance this environment to give us the most out of OCI. With that, I would like to go to the floor to see if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sravan. Yes.
Bidhin, can you tell me, you mentioned that you have suggested movement from Red Hat Linux to Oracle Linux or something like that, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me something more about it?
So, of course, they are both from the same family itself, but in the on-premise, right, when you have, which I have explained. So, the Red Hat Linux, right, it is licensed product, right, in the on-premise. Now, what we suggest to our customers, and especially also to the Evraz, is that the Oracle Enterprise Linux in the OCI, when you spin off the VM, the Oracle Enterprise Linux VM into the OCI, the Oracle Enterprise Linux, it's free in OCI, right? So that way, it helps in reducing your TCO. Not only the TCO also, it also helps, since the Oracle E-Business Suite, the native Oracle products are themselves developed in OCI itself, in Oracle Enterprise Linux, sorry. So that way, both are married, the applications, the databases, right? The development which Oracle does is in Oracle Enterprise Linux. So that way, once you move your environments from the other Oracle, right, OS, of course, the primary reason is also to reduce the cost also, but the performance benefits, the stability which you get in Oracle Enterprise Linux is also massive.
Was there any challenge faced when moving from Red Hat to Oracle? Linux?
So as I mentioned, both are from the same Andean. So Andean is that they are unlike similar. The core Linux is same. On top of that, Red Hat has developed their operating systems, and Oracle has done that. So their base core is same, right? So migration from Red Hat to OEL is as per the Oracle standards. It is just a lift and shift. So as per the process, right? So if it is a different Andean, you have a different procedure to do the migration. Some risks are involved, but that's all part of the solutions which we develop. So in this case, it is a straightforward migration from Red Hat to anywhere in OEL. It is a straightforward migration. I hope I am able to answer your question.
Yes, definitely. The other one, probably the smaller one, can we optimize the license usage for the non-prod environment? Like, normally non-prod availability is 8 to 5 probably, in that region, or if you are using multiple countries accordingly. Right? So can we optimize license usage by bringing it up only when it is needed, kind of a thing, or between different
So
environments?
if I rephrase or if I understand your question, it is when you say refer the license, it is the subscription of the OCI, right? The Universal Cloud Credits, if I understand. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So as I I've shown our tools and accelerators, the cloud cost control management tool which WIPRO has, it exactly does the same, right? So you taking your example as say the non-production environments, which is sometimes not needed during the off-business hours or during the weekends, or there is during the Christmas holidays where the developers are not there or people are not using the non-prod environments. So identify such workloads in your estate. We have a tool which does it's a scheduler based tool wherein you can select those workloads and as per the schedule, it shut down and it starts the environments as per your requirements. So the end result is you will be, once the environment are shut down, they will not consume the universal cloud credits or the subscription of the Oracle. So the saved universal credits you can leverage and use it for other purposes of your projects or in your organization, right? So with our C3MT tool, the cloud cost control management tool, we can achieve the problem statement which you mentioned.
Thanks, Bidhin.
So to that point, I would like to just add, so this is something that we are doing, right? So we have an additional environment that we build where when we run into any issues with any data fixes or anything like that, we don't want to interrupt some of the environments, right? Because you want the latest data to run your data fixes or patches. So we have an environment that we shut down and bring it up and refresh whenever we need, and then test through those data fixes or patches, and then we just turn it off. So we are just paying for the storage, but not for the whole environment running.
Immediate fix, just bring it up when you need. Okay. Gold copy, basically, of production.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.